Hello and welcome to a session designed with deliberate and intricate intention. Tonight, we are not merely speaking together. Tonight, I am carefully, methodically placing you under a gentle, powerful spell. A spell of understanding, a spell of safety, a spell of deep neurological surrender into sleep. You do not need to try. You do not need to resist. You do not need to accomplish anything. Simply listen. Simply allow your mind to be washed, cleansed, and softened by streams of complex scientific knowledge. The very act of comprehending these words, even imperfectly, will cause your prefrontal cortex to disengage. It will allow your reticle activating system to dim its lights. It will invite your parasympathetic nervous system to ascend. This spell is made not of magic, but of biological certainty. The way a river must yield to gravity, so must the mind yield to the cadence of slowness and the burden of complexity. Tonight, as you lie still, the weight of this intricate, delicate science will be the weight that pulls you downward into the deepest currents of sleep. Yawning, that simple, strange, familiar gesture, is in fact an astonishing orchestration of neural, muscular, and thermoregulatory processes. At its most basic definition, a yawn is an involuntary motor pattern characterized by a wide gaping of the jaw, maximal contraction of the masseter and temporalis muscles, a deep and slow inhalation, temporary closure of the glottis, and an elongated exhalation phase. But why? Why do we yawn? The thermoregulatory hypothesis posits that yawning serves as a mechanism for cerebral thermoregulation. When the brain's internal temperature exceeds its optimal operational threshold, approximately 37 degrees Celsius, yawning activates the complex musculature surrounding the oral and pharyngeal cavities, promoting the intake of cool ambient air and enhancing venous outflow from the brain, thereby reducing intracranial heat. Furthermore, research into the cerebrospinal fluid dynamics suggests that the mechanical movement involved in yawning may help to redistribute cerebrospinal fluid throughout the ventricles, ensuring even cooling and nutrient exchange with the central nervous system. Other hypotheses abound. The arousal hypothesis suggests that yawning transiently elevates levels of cortical arousal by facilitating changes in blood flow, briefly heightening sensory alertness. Meanwhile, The social contagion hypothesis explores the concept of mirror neurons, specialized neurons located primarily within the inferior frontal gyrus and inferior parietal lobule that drive involuntary limitation and imitation behaviors. Thus, when you see or hear a yawn, your mirror neurons activate corresponding motor patterns in your own brain. You yawn too. It is almost unavoidable. Are you feeling the first gentle wave of a yawn? If you are, allow it. Let it rise. Let it fall. This ancient biological rhythm is your body's secret language. You are safe. You are slowly slipping further into stillness. Now, let us float deeper into the complex chemical ballet between yawning and anxiety. Anxiety, a state of heightened arousal mediated by hyperactivation of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, also known as HPA axis, results in a flood of cortisotropin releasing hormone, also known as CRH, adrenocorticotropic hormone, also known as ACTH, and cortisol into your bloodstream. This chemical cascade primes the sympathetic nervous system. Your respiration rate increases. Your heart rate accelerates. Your smooth muscles constrict. However, a curious counter-regulatory behavior emerges. Yawning. Excessive yawning, termed pathological yawning in clinical literature, often accompanies states of hyperarousal and anxiety. But why? One prevailing theory is the respiratory compensation hypothesis. Under conditions of hyperventilation, breathing too quickly, blood levels of carbon dioxide drop, causing respiratory alkalosis. Yawning acts as a compensatory mechanism to stabilize alveolar gas concentrations, normalize carbon dioxide, and recalibrate chemoreceptor sensitivity in the medulla oblongata. In other words, your body, struggling under the chemical burden of anxiety, deploys yawning as a subtle rescue operation. Another theory implicates vagus nerve stimulation. Yawning may activate the vagus nerve, cranial nerve X, which exerts a dominant influence on parasympathetic outflow. Through this mechanism, yawning initiates a neurochemical, also known as a braking system, slowly and slowing heart rate, also known as negative chronotropy, deepening respiration and promoting gastrointestinal motility. Thus, what seems like a meaningless gesture is in fact your brain's sophisticated attempt to reverse anxiety from inside out. Your brain is fighting for your calmness. Your brain is yearning for your peace. All through a simple yet profound yawn. Let us travel now to the deeper layers of your physiology. The autonomic nervous system, also known as ANS, which operates beneath conscious awareness, is composed of two principal branches. The sympathetic nervous system, also known as SNS, the accelerator. The parasympathetic nervous system, also known as PNS, the brake. When anxiety rises, the SNS dominates. Pupils dilate, also known as mydriasis. Heart rate increases, also known as tachycardia. Gastrointestinal motility diminishes. This is known as allostatic load, the wear and tear on the body when exposed to chronic sympathetic arousal. Yawning, however, belongs to the parasympathetic realm. When you yawn, heart rate variability increases, also known as HRV. Blood pressure stabilizes. Vagal tone strengthens. It is somatic ritual, a biological invocation of restoration, a sacred ceremony of molecules and nerves, conducted entirely without your awareness. Each yawn, each long, soft inhalation is a signal and a signal to the primitive parts of your brainstem. The medulla oblongata whispers, slow down. The pons hums, be still. The reticular formation fades into silence. Thus, in yawning, your body slowly transfers control from the excitable sympathetic circuits to the quiet, ancient rhythms of parasympathetic peace. Feel it now. Feel the gentle tug of sleep pulling you downward into the sacred architecture of slumber. Beyond its thermoregulatory and chemical roles, yawning plays a profound psychophysiological coping function. Individuals report increased yawning during public speaking engagements, high-stake examinations, episodes of social evaluation or scrutiny. This is not coincidence. It is not weakness. It is the body's invisible scaffolding designed to uphold psychological resilience. Yawning facilitates oxygen saturation of blood plasma, improving cortical efficiency. Reduction in mental noise by harmonizing oscillations across the default mode network of the brain. Neuroplastic resilience, gently redirecting anxiety responses into somatic regulation pathways. In simpler words, even when your mind races, even when your fear grips you, your body, your ancient biological self, yawns to save you, yawns to calm you. Tonight, as you listen to these words, you may notice an increase in spontaneous yawns. Allow them. Each one is offering a passage, a door, a door to deep and beautiful stillness. So now, you know, you understand. You have walked the complex pathways of thermoregulation, neuroendocrinology, cerebrospinal dynamics, autonomic integration, and psychophysiological coping. You have drifted down the corridors of your own hidden machinery. You've heard the sacred and scientific language of your own yawns. You are under the spell now. The spell of surrender. The spell of understanding. The spell of sleep. You are lying still. Your mind no longer seeks. Your breath no longer rushes. Each neuron, each muscle fiber, each beat of your heart slows, softens, fades. You are floating now on the slow moving currents of the parasympathetic ocean. You are weightless. You are cradled. You are home. When sleep comes to you, and it will come very soon, welcome it without question. Welcome it without hesitation. Welcome it as the inevitable conclusion of the ancient biological magic we have shared tonight. Even in the heights of anxiety, even in the depths of fear, your body will always, quietly, wordlessly, yawn for you, call you home, one gentle yawn, one quiet breath at a time. Good night.